goes, that is pretty topical. You're on your A game. You definitely stayed up with that one. You're definitely there. So, all right. Well, welcome to Randsanity, episode 251. 251 consecutive days of this, winding down to 1 year. 1 year. So that'll be interesting. We'll do something extravagant on my 1 year anniversary. I haven't figured out what day that is yet because I have not paid enough attention to it. But if it's 356 days, and it's 251. So in about 100 days, so about 3 months. So what's that? March, April, May. So sometime in May, May something, somewhere in May, right? It would be funny if it was like Cinco de Mayo. Be like, fuck, we're busting out tequila. That's what happens. Ah, shit. All right, well, look, we're going to talk a little about it. The first time here, what I do is I just talk about, current events like, we've just talked about the death of the Three Doors Down lead singer, Brad Arnold, from cancer at the age of 47. Talk about maybe things that happened on this day. Talk about stuff that might happen tomorrow and the likes. So why don't we start with that? Let's start with, besides Bad Bunny and Green Day, what are the other music performances to check out during this year's Super Bowl? The Super Bowl halftime show was very highly anticipated this year. It's some pretty big deal with moments in pop culture. I did go to the Super Bowl once. I went after 9/11 happened. So U2 was the halftime show at the Superdome in New Orleans. I got invited by a friend of mine who worked for the Houston Texans, and it was insane. Security was nuts. We went to ridiculous parties. I met all sorts of people from Hugh Hefner to Hootie and the Blowfish and Wayne Gretzky and an actual Bush, from Budweiser family. It was nuts. It was crazy. And yeah, but it was great. U2 did their halftime show. So it's always something big. It's definitely one of the biggest stages in the world, that the bands can perform on. So yeah, 2026 definitely belongs to Bad Bunny after making history at this year's Grammy Awards. It's definitely be a star-studded event with millions of watchers. And, let's see what this Puerto Rican superstar dazzles on. While Bad Bunny's hosting halftime duties, Green Day will take care of the opening ceremony. I've talked about the songs I'd love to see them do, but probably they won't do any of those songs, just for the fact that those 3 songs, it would be nice if they'd Welcome to Paradise. They might have to change some lyrics here and there, but, But that's it. There's other things happening, okay? There are other things happening. If you don't have a big fan, you want to see someone else, there's a few different options for tackling the litany of different performances. So, per usual, before big sporting events, somebody is assigned to singing duties of the national anthem. This year, Charlie Puth is saddled with the responsibility. Given the magnitude of the game, the NFL isn't just settling for good old Star Spangled Banner. Country singer Brandy Carlisle is singing America the Beautiful, while Coco Jones will perform Lift Every Voice and Sing. All this will take place during the Super Bowl opening ceremonies alongside Green Day at 6 p.m. So, yeah, Charlie's going to be amazing. I think that's interesting, too. While everyone is getting the food ready at home, Peacock is hosting a Super Bowl tailgate at 3:50 p.m. with Teddy Swims as the big attraction, while rising Bay Area rapper La Russell will support him. For everyone in San Francisco, the event is taking place right outside of Levi's Stadium before the game. This comes on the heels of the blockbuster Madden Ball lineup, that just happened last night. Where Teddy Swims, La Russell also performed with Zach Bryan headlining that affair. And while most Super Bowl viewers will watch Buddy tear out the stage at Levi Stadium during halftime, certain people will outright refuse. For those who just absolutely can't bear to watch the Latino star, conservative network Turning Point lined up the pro-America alternative with country artists. If you have a morbid inkling to watch Kid Rock perform in 2026, you have that option as well. Additionally, singers will be Brantley Gilbert, Lee Brice, and Gabby Barrett. They're also on board for that event. So you got all sorts of music selections tomorrow, so feel free. I'm going to watch Bad Bunny. I may jump over just to take a momentary look and see what we've got from Kid Rock, just out of morbid fascination, I believe. So, yeah, I did go, actually, I got invited and I did see a Kid Rock show. I will admit it, some years ago. Front row, no less. I sat front row, right there, like Kid Rock, as a guest. But, yeah. You know, it's what happens in the music industry. Sometimes you go to shows that you're like, okay, not the biggest fan, but I'm going to go anyway. Yes, I did see that. The festival got canceled. Well, look, it's okay. Laura Lee, holy shit, look at you. I see Laura Lee Radio. Holy crap. What's up, girl? How the hell are you doing? That is awesome. Very, very cool. All right, well, there you go. There's your, besides Bad Bunny and Green Day, alternative music, just in case. All right, well, let's just crank into a little history today and just see what we got going on, all right? Like I said, we'll kind of keep it moving a little bit so that we're not here all night because, there's a lot. Well, 1959, today was the day that Buddy Holly was buried in Lubbock, Texas. His tombstone reads Holley, Holley, because that's actually the correct spelling of his given surname, which includes pictures of his guitar. Remember, he died on February 3rd of 1959 after the show in Clear Lake, Iowa. Because Buddy Holly's bus, it's the winter, the bus had a heater issue. They chartered a plane to travel to the next show in Moorhead, Minnesota. And unfortunately, soon after the takeoff, the plane crashed, killing Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, the Big Bopper, and the pilot. And of course, the milestone in rock history, as we know, it is the day the music died. It happens, though, 1963, the first Beatles single, Please Please Me, was released in the U.S. on the VJ label. I know, I hate that. The VJ label. Capitol Records, EMI United States label. When offered the right to release the single in the U.S. but turned it down, Dick Bonindi, a disc jockey with WLS in Chicago and a friend of VJ executive Ewart Abner, played the song on the radio from February 1963, thus becoming the first DJ to play a Beatles record in the United States. Rock and roll radio. And today is the day that the Beatles landed in the United States. 1964, Pan Am Flight 101, Radio 101, CD 101. They were greeted by over 5,000 Beatles fans as it arrived in New York's JFK airport, bringing the Beatles to the U.S. for the first time and causing riotous scenes as they touched down. It's one of those things, if you want to go see some crazy shit, they have footage from that. It's like, when did we let people on the tarmac? Shit doesn't happen like that anymore today. They'd have to be outside somewhere far, far away from a plane landing. But that was 1964, so, that was a different one. Yes, Lubbock, exactly. Yeah, right, thanks 9/11. I think it was before that anyway. In 1967, Robin Maurice and Barry Gibb of the Bee Gees returned to the UK after living in Australia for 9 years. And of course, we got some good stuff. And of course, as I said, Jim Morrison in the news once again, and it's never good. 1969, on this day, the 7th of February, Mr. Jim Morrison was arrested for drunk driving and driving with no license in Los Angeles, California. Jim. So if Jim Morrison's drinking arrests only would match Paul McCartney's weed arrests. I mean, jeez, people. 1969, The Who recorded Pinball Wizard at Morgan Studios in London, England. 1969 is when that came out. Holy crap. The song is one of the band's most famous live songs, being at almost every Who concert since its debut live performance on May 2nd, 1969. The track, which featured on their 1969 rock opera album Tommy, was released as a single in 1969 and reached number 4 on the UK charts and number 19 in the US. My most famous Who story is I got to see them at Shea Stadium. Shea Stadium was insane back in the day. We actually went and you had to take a train out to the middle of nowhere where Shea was. And it was the freaking middle of nowhere. There was nothing out there. But on this particular occasion, hand to God, we could bring a cooler into the show and they didn't check it. They didn't care what you brought in. So we wheeled like a Coleman cooler filled with beer. They didn't give a crap. Just crazy shit. We did a band in the cooler because there was no reason to bring it back after. It was like, whatever. And yes, The Who played a great show, but it was literally, I mean, Shea Stadium was so raucous. I will never forget that show because it was just crazy because there was no limit. People brought whatever they wanted to. And so, you know, we had like an entire cooler of booze and beer and just way more than we needed for a concert. Let's put it that way. Way more. And Shea Stadium, like I said, it was such a shithole and it was so far out in the boonies. You had to take a train, like, you know, one train from Madison Square Garden from Penn Station to another train to like the LIRR and just crazy shit, man. Crazy shit that used to happen back in the day. Crazy. 1970, Led Zeppelin scored its first number 1 on the UK album chart with Led Zeppelin 2, released in November of 1969 and featuring the US number 4 single Whole Lotta Love. It went to stay on the UK chart for 138 weeks. Over 2 years? That's nutty. It also reached number 1 in the US. The RIAA, which is the certification body of governing record hits in the US, has now certified it as having sold over 12 million copies in the US alone. Not too shabby, Led Zeppelin. Not too shabby. I did have to listen to this song because I always like to listen to a one-hit wonder. One-hit wonder Shocking Blue, of course, went to number 1 of the U.S. singles chart with Venus, making them the first Dutch act to chart on the U.S. charts. It made number 8 in the UK group. The girl group Bananarama also took the song to number 8 on the UK chart in 1986. And if you ever think you never heard it, you did, because it was on one of those like razor commercials for Venus. So yes, you've heard this song because it was on a TV commercial forever. Well, I'm glad that's the favorite song of yours, because do they even have any other songs? I mean, they were one-hit wonders, so. Don't forget, like, follow, subscribe, share, and watch. Watch the damn videos. And Sharpie, if you're out there, I want my sponsorship, damn it. In 1973, the Stooges released their third studio album, Raw Power. The album gained a cult following in the years following the release, and like its predecessor, 1970 Funhouse, is generally considered an influential forerunner for punk rock. Kurt Cobain of Nirvana said on numerous times that Raw Power was his favorite album of all time by the Stooges. Well, there you go. If that's your validating factor, Kurt Cobain endorsing it, there you go. Now you have an endorsement. Now, this seems like so long ago, but it seems weirdly not. Stephen Stills of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young became the first rock performer to record on digital equipment in Los Angeles Record Plant Studio in 1979. That was the first time digital equipment was used, 1979. And holy shit, that seems like that was forever ago. 1979 is when we started using digital equipment. That seems like we should have used it like earlier or later. I don't know. I'm just saying. I got to get that camera fixed. I'm just poorly unable to work that camera properly. All right, let's see if I can go back. There we go. Go back to the proper one. 1981, this is after he was dead, apparently. John Lennon was number one on the UK singles chart with Woman, an ode to his wife, Yoko Ono. It was Lennon's third number one in 7 weeks after his death, because remember, he was shot and killed on December 8th, 1980, which is also Jim Morrison's birthday, December 8th. I only know that because mine's December 9th, so I know all the birthdays near it. Kool and the Gang started a 2-week run at number one on the U.S. singles chart with Celebration, the group's first number one and 8th top 40 hit. Now, I can't believe that doesn't have even more like stuff written about it, because isn't that the song, like that's 1981, but isn't that the song like every like greeting card and ridiculous New Year's thing you push buttons on, it's always like celebrate good times, come on. That's Kool and the Gang. So I'm just saying. Let's see. What does it say now? Why is that Talking Heads server got the recognition other bands have received? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. That's an interesting question. That truly is. That's an interesting question, Cold Beer. I'll have to think about that one. 1987, George Michael and Aretha Franklin were both number one on the UK singles chart with I Know You Were Waiting for Me, written by Simon Climie. It gave Aretha her first UK number one almost 20 years after her first hit. 1994. Oh, man. It's about bad behaviors. Blind Melon's lead singer Shannon Hoon was forced to leave the American Music Awards ceremony for his loud and disruptive behavior. Hoon was later charged with battery, assault, resisting arrest, and destroying a police station phone. Oh, Shannon. Apparently he was drunk at the awards because normally people don't lose their shit like that. In 1999, Blondie went to number one on the UK singles show with Maria, giving the group their 6th UK number one single 20 years after their first one for Heart of Glass. At the age of 54, lead singer Deborah Harry became the oldest female to make a number one hit in the UK. That doesn't sound that old at 54. I mean, like, really? Give me a break. Okay, so if she was 54 in 1999, 26 years later, she would be 71 today. I mathed that just like that. Look at that mathing. I'm so good at my mathing. Another thought, Miami Vice made so many songs on people's favorite song list today. Yeah, that's true. It did. That's Miami Vice does have that, so I don't know what to think of that one. Laura, did you leave us? Bye, Laura. I worked with Laura. Laura was here, but she left. She's now she's living in Appleton, Wisconsin. Appleton, Wisconsin. Yes. Outstanding. I can't believe that. That's so fun. Okay, now this is, again, see, this shit writes itself sometimes, and I don't want to make these jokes, but I can't help it. In 2000, American rapper Big Punisher, better known by his stage name Big Pun, died of a heart attack at the age of 28. The rapper weighed, ready for this one, 430 pounds when he had the attack. His second album, Yeah Baby, completed before his death, was issued as scheduled in April of 2000. It peaked at number 3 on the Billboard chart. So if his name was American rapper Big Punisher, was that like to things he sat on, like chairs and car seats, anything at 300, 430 pounds? I mean, man, that's punishing the ground he walks on. I know I'm such an asshole. I'm sorry. I just, I mean, yowza. In 2004, Queen's single We Will Rock You topped the poll of music fans to find the greatest rock anthem of all time. The 1977 song beat the band's classic Bohemian Rhapsody into second place in a survey of 1,000 people carried out for the UCI cinema chain. The poll was carried out to mark the release of the new Jack Black comedy School of Rock. Truth hurts. I know. One more. How many songs did Phil Collins write for other big bands? A lot, actually. Phil Collins did write a lot of songs. I'm not sure the number, but he definitely was one of that. Yeah, that's something I haven't heard about lately is Jack Black because, the whole KG thing. So Jack definitely distanced himself from that. Yeah, it does hurt a little bit. There's a little bit of truth in that one, so sorry. Don't forget, like, follow, subscribe, share, and watch. I have to say those things. It's written down. Let's see. Michael Jackson Thriller was named the top pop video in a poll of Channel 4 viewers in the UK. The 1983 video, which depicts the singer as a werewolf and a zombie, beat videos by Madonna and Robbie Williams, animated videos for Peter Gabriel for Sledgehammer. Aha's Take Me On were in second and third place, respectively. Fourth was Queen with Bohemian Rhapsody. Fifth was Madonna, Like a Prayer. Sixth, Robin Williams, DJ Rock. Seventh, Michael Jackson, Billie Jean. Eighth, The Verve, Bittersweet Symphony. Ninth, Madonna, Vogue. And 10th, Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit. I could move Nirvana up a little bit. Oddly enough, in my birth today, today's birthday is Spencer Eldon. You know who Spencer Eldon is? Spencer Eldon tried to sue Nirvana. Do you know why Spencer Eldon tried to sue Nirvana? Spencer Eldon is the baby whose penis is shown on the cover. He's 35 years old today. He basically said, he goes, that's child exploitation. Oh, Spencer Eldon, I'm sure you got paid handsomely. And look, everyone gets to see your little wiener. Him and Kyle got back together. I heard they got back together. We've met Jack Black. He was a curmudgeon, to say the very least. Kyle would come to the station all the time. KG, actually, because he was in Columbus, he would come to the station all the time. But Jack was always a bit of a curmudgeon. He really was. He always had some sort of an anger issue. We were always like, what up, bro? Just kind of funny. Oh, man. Amy Winehouse in 2008 was told she could not perform at this year's Grammy Awards ceremony because her U.S. visa application had been rejected by the embassy in London. The singer was arrested for marijuana possession in Norway in 2007, so they said denied. Winehouse had been nominated for 6 Grammy Awards ahead of the ceremony in Los Angeles on the following Sunday. Oh, Miss Amy Winehouse. Then that was an infamous arrest in Norway as well. Oh man, what are you gonna do, right? That's just the way it goes sometimes. You can't get away with that stuff. Somebody's gonna come and say, no bueno. 2023, David Bowie's handwritten lyrics for The Genie sold for $77,000 at an auction. The song, taken from the Aladdin Sane album, was released as a single in 1972 and reached number 2 in the UK charts. The lyric sheet for The Genie comprised of 18 lines and a piece of A4-lined paper, which was titled, signed, and dated by Bowie. That'd be cool to have. I don't know if I'd pay $77,000 for it, but, look, that's it. And this is the one that I was like, damn it. So on this day, Neil McMillan, otherwise known to everybody as Mr. Mojo Nixon. Elvis is everywhere. Elvis is everything. Elvis is everybody. Elvis is still the king. Died from a cardiac event while aboard the Outlaw Country Cruise docked in San Juan, Puerto Rico, which he attended as a performer and host. He was 66 years old. He was best known for his novelty song Elvis is Everywhere and the song Don Henley Must Die, which caused controversy. Don Henley himself was unfazed. And on July 31st of 1992 at the Hole in the Wall in Austin, Texas, the former Eagle jumped on stage and performed the song with Nixon, causing Mojo to praise Henley as having balls as big as church bells. Oh, man. So I will have to tell you a story about Mojo Nixon. And I'm not telling. Well, first of all, Mojo, we used to play Mojo Bingo. Every time we would come to town and do a show, we would have him play bingo. We'd go rent a big bingo wheel and we'd have the listeners come in and we would do Mojo Bingo. Secondly, Mojo Bingo was sort of his thing. He was the only artist to ever drive the radio station vehicle. He got behind the wheel of the famous ice cream truck and he drove the ice cream truck to a Wendy's drive-thru to get a burger. He was like, let me drive this thing. We're like, all right. But probably the most funnest, famous, bestest story of Mojo was this. We went to a junket once. I went to lots of junkets, okay? We went to the Virgin Islands, not to somewhere bad. We went for Jose Cuervo. Let's keep it together here, people. We went to Ireland for Jameson. Went to Los Angeles, went to some other places. But one time we went to Boston for Sam Adams, okay? And it was the Samuel Adams Boston Lager event. We saw the Stone Temple Pilots, played at a little club there. Just, these junkets are always the best. But Mojo was there. So we hung out with Mojo the whole time because, he was doing radio stuff and he was a character and a half. I'll never forget. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning. And we're getting ready to do this live broadcast, and he comes bounding down the hall, knocks on the door like, hey, what are you guys doing? I want to come be on the radio. We're like, okay. He's got a bottle, and I mean like a handle of gin in one hand and a 2-liter of 7-Up in the other. And we're like, okay, like seriously? He's drinking gin and 7-Up at 7 o'clock in the morning. And he put it down. And oh my God, we hung out. He was on the air. It was just ridiculous. We almost got thrown out of the Copley Plaza, which is a 4-star hotel in Boston at Copley Square. It was just one of those you'll always remember kind of adventures. But yes, Mojo Nixon. Unfortunate that we lost him. He was just such a good cat, man. As far as musicians went, again, he was a novelty act kind of thing, but man, did that guy know he had a gigantic heart. And apparently a bad one at that. Cardiac event. Yeah, that's never good. Never good. So, well, Mojo is everywhere. Mojo is still the king. Mojo is everybody. Mojo is everything. Rest in peace, Mr. Mojo Nixon. Died on this day, 2024. And speaking of Eagles and Don Henley, which probably does, I don't know how I can segue any better into this one. Don Henley just came out today and said that the Eagles will probably be the final year in 2026. Of all things. Founding member Don Henley has said that he thinks the band will probably come to an end this year. The legendary group are in the middle of a huge run of shows at the Sphere in Las Vegas as part of their Titanic The Long Goodbye Tour. But with the residency set to end in March, singer and drummer Henley, 78 at this point, has opened up about where he sees the band going next. In an interview on the CBS Morning Show, he was asked about the future and he replied, I think this year will probably be it. And I've said things like that before, but I feel like we're getting toward the end, he added, and that will be fine too. He went on to say that is the eagle to spend more time with his family, and he would like the opportunity to grow vegetables and travel. I've been around the world, but I haven't seen much of it because you see the airports and the hotel rooms and the venue, and then we don't get out very much, you know? The Vegas one was originally only intended to last 8 shows, but it has been extended multiple times due to overwhelming demand. His final 12 shows taking place in early months of this year. The last date is on March 28th, and you can find any remaining tickets at StubHub, or you can go to thesphere.com. The Eagles formed in 1971 with Glenn Frey and Henley playing together in Linda Ronstadt's backing band, and they remained together until 1980, reforming multiple times since then. One of their most successful bands of all time, winning 6 Grammys and selling over 200 million records worldwide. They were inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1998. And last month's their greatest hits album from 1976, the best-selling album of all time in the U.S. and the 5th worldwide, became the first record ever to be quadruple diamond certified, signifying 40 million sales. That's nuts. A 50th anniversary reissue of the album is being released on February 17th on clear 180-gram vinyl. I'm sure you can get that on Record Store Day as well. Should be out there on April the 18th for Record Store Day. Your good friend, his dad, was a promoter in Memphis and friend with the Silver Bullet Band. Epic stories. I can only imagine. I got to play golf once with Glenn Frey. He was an ass, just so you know. We played out in Boulder, Colorado. We went to a thing, another junket. It was for these AAA music seminars. And yeah, he was just a dick. He really was. I mean, I don't like to talk ill of the dead, but yeah, he was just a dick. I was like, oh my God, hey, so nice to meet you. He's like, whatever. Like, literally, he was so dismissive to people. I was like, wow, what a dick. You didn't have to be like every other musician that was there was like so generous with their time, and they're all really nice, and but yeah, he just was a dick. You'll have that, right? I mean, it happens, okay? It happens. All right, who was born on this day? Pete Postlethwaite. Pete Postlethwaite. He would have been 81. He died in 2011. He was that old British guy. I remember he was in Jurassic Park Lost World. He was the hunter. He was, skinny, bald. He's always played like a villain kind of guy in stuff he's been in. He was in the movie Inception as well. So, yeah, that guy. Let's see. Died in 9. This is, again, Wayne Allway. He's the 3rd Mickey Mouse voice. They're still using humans to do Mickey Mouse. He went 79. Emo Phillips, 70. The comedian Emo Phillips is 70. James Spader, actor James Spader, 66 today. He's all right. Eddie Izzard, 64. I love Eddie Izzard. Dressed to Kill. He was in that movie. He's also does the comedy stuff. Chris Rock, 61 years old today. Ashton Kutcher, 48 from 70s show. And he's got some new TV show. I don't know what it's about. It's about like some drug that makes you, gorgeous. No side effects, I'm sure. Great. Let's see. Oh, yeah. We mentioned Spencer Eldon. Happy birthday, Spencer. Sorry about your penis. Brian Travers of UB40, saxophonist. He died in 21. He would have been 67. David Brady of Bon Jovi, keyboardist for Bon Jovi, 1962. So he's 64 years old. Garth Brooks, 64 years old. I don't know any Garth Brooks songs, sorry. And Wes Borland of Limp Bizkit, birthday today. Happy birthday to Wes Borland. Oh, and Mojo Nixon died today, and Brad Arnold of Three Doors Down died today. Like literally today at the age of 47 from cancer. Unfortunately, that's the way that goes. 90 years ago today, Felix the cat. Felix the cat, the wonderful, wonderful cat that lasts so much, your side ache, your heart will go pitter pat. Because that's Felix. Felix the cat. I used to be called Felix the cat. I had the nickname Felix the cat because I always carried a bag. Because Felix always had his bag of tricks. I always carried a bag, so. Disney, 1940, Pinocchio was released. Second Disney animated movie ever, Pinocchio. Beep. In 1974, on this day, Mel Brooks' Blazing Saddles was released. The premiere was held at a drive-in, but people did not sit on cars. They actually sat on horses, of all things. Oh, man, they could not make Blazing Saddles today. No one would back that. They'd be like, nope, not doing it. Not putting my name on this thing. Oh, man. Ray! So, yeah, Blazing Saddles. Outstanding. Let's see. Lastly, I think I saw that Iron and Wine will turn from a new album, Hen's Teeth, an accompanying tour this month. Sam Bean revealed the extension of his already announced 2026 trek, giving fans in the Southwest a chance to catch him live through the fall. The updated itinerary is available if you can look for it with their new single, Roses. The new leg of the show stretches throughout the month of October. It stops in Denver, Boise, Seattle, LA, Dallas, Atlanta, and beyond. So, Dude with Dog, they're close. They're going to be down in Dallas. Let's see. Hen's Teeth is billed as a companion to Iron Wine's 2004 Light Verse. Beam recorded over the past few years with engineer Dave Way, as well as musicians David Garza, Sebastian Steinberg, Tyler Chester, Griffin Goldsmith, and Beth Goodfellow. American trio, I'm With Her, became Bean's own daughter, Arden. So, yeah, this is an extensive tour. Jesus. I mean, it starts literally in this month, 2/28 in Perth, Australia. He's got a bunch of dates in Australia, then New Zealand, then he goes to Hawaii, and then back to the States. You know, we're looking at Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, Michigan, New York, PA, blah, blah, blah. I don't see any in Ohio, though. So not going to see a show here. They're playing in Tucson, San Antonio, Dallas, Tulsa. So relatively close, Dude with Dog. But, yeah, a little Iron and Wine action. So there you go. So all sorts of good stuff. So, yes, tomorrow, Super Bowl 60. Lots of good stuff. So I'm excited. So I'm going to take bets on songs that Green Day does not, play. I wonder if I can get one of those those prop bets, right? I wonder if there's prop bets about their songs. I'll have to go look. I haven't looked at it. See if there's a prop bet about what songs they'll play. That would be interesting. Think about that. A prop bet for them to play Holiday. They won't play Holiday. There's no way. Nice Guys finished last, maybe. But Welcome to Paradise, that would be a great one them to play. I'll see if there'll be a prop bet for that. So that's my bet on songs tomorrow for that. Welcome to Paradise by Green Day. They probably won't, but could play that one. Nice Guys finished last. They probably won't play that one, but they could, but I don't think so. And then a Holiday, there's no way they're playing that. It's just not. No way. Just way too much. There's way too much in that song. But what are you going to do, right? It would be funny if they did, but they will not. They will not. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I may go check out Kid Rock just for a second for morbid curiosity. I want to see what that all entails, what that shit show looks like. But I will watch the Puppy Bowl. I definitely will be watching the Puppy Bowl because, who doesn't like ridiculously cute dogs? The loudest band concert in 26 will AC/DC. Well, they're playing here at the football stadium, the Ohio State University football stadium this summer. So I could imagine that they would be. AC/DC will definitely put on a show, and I'm excited about that. I will definitely going to see that. That will be a good one for sure, for sure. So, all right. Well, with that note, I'm going to go. I'm going to get out of my studio down here in the basement where it's not warm right now because it's fucking winter, especially in Columbus, Ohio. It's really cold. So I'm going to head back upstairs. I'm going to get ready for snacks tomorrow, and I'm just going to gorge myself on ridiculous amounts of unhealthy processed foods tomorrow. And then I'll probably be in a food coma tomorrow night when I come back and do this all again, but different. And we can talk about the songs that they did perform tomorrow during their pre-game show. So take any bets. Wings, I may do some wings. Cold beer and wings, I can't go wrong with that. You know, I'd probably do some deviled eggs because deviled eggs, you know, can't hate that. I think I'm going to do some shrimp, work on my gout, do a lot of, you know, rich food, seafood, butter, alcohol, all that good stuff. Yeah. Work on the gout. My uric acid. So we'll see. I had hot chocolate. No, that's now not even lukewarm chocolate. That would be cold chocolate. There was a great song, Hot Chocolate, but, you know, that's not it right now. Anyway, I'll switch over to this camera, and I will say thank you for being here. Don't forget, hi, Liz. Don't forget, like, subscribe, follow, watch, share, all that stuff. Do a dog. I'll look for you tomorrow, man. We'll do this all again, but completely different. Liz, nice catching you. Appreciate you being here. Everybody else, hasta luego. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Daisy Dahlia. And we'll do this all again different, but we'll know what Green Day songs are played then. Thank you. Peace and do good things. It's fade to black.